Now y'all let me know if it's just me, but I feel like the whole Sonic vs Shadow debate has actually got somewhere interesting to go right now. I mean, across multiple games and character bios, we've always been told Sonic and Shadow are even. Sonic and Shadow have the same abilities, same speed, same strength, same everything. They are matched evenly, which while boring makes sense from a lore and a character perspective. I mean, Shadow's whole introduction in Sonic Adventure 2 was he was meant to be the ultimate life form and he was meant to be basically Sonic's rival. It wouldn't make sense for Sonic to have a rival that couldn't match up to his capabilities. But at the same time, it wouldn't make sense for Sonic to be overshadowed by a new character ain't nobody seen before. So for the most part up until this point, it's mainly been established that Sonic and Shadow will forever be on equal terms. However, in recent games, we've seen both Sonic and Shadow gain brand new abilities and moves and techniques that are unique to each other. In Sonic Frontiers, Sonic was able to gain access to a whole new skill tree of abilities that he was able to use to take on the Guardians on the Starfall Islands. Meanwhile, Shadow, reliving his past and going through this utter turmoil in Shadow Generations, was able to gain access to some new abilities thanks to Black Doom awakening them in him through anger. Now I thought it might be a cool idea to do a video comparing Frontiers Sonic to Shadow Generations Doom Shadow, and see, with these new abilities, who would come out on top in a 1v1? Are any of these abilities on either side enough to give the other guy the edge? I guess we're about to find out. Quick heads up, I'm not a power scaler and I'm not a feat guy, so I'm not gonna be... Okay, that came out kinda wrong. But anyways, I'm not gonna be doing these super crazy death battle calculations and figuring all this stuff out. I'm just gonna be going off the eye test, off the vibes, and see who I think would win. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Right now, let's get into it. Now first off, we're gonna look at the skill sets for both Sonic and Shadow from the relative games Sonic Frontiers and Shadow Generations. Starting off with Sonic, as I said earlier, Sonic Frontiers introduces the skill tree, in which Sonic is able to get multiple skills throughout the game to fight both the enemies and the Guardians in the open zone gameplay. In order to get these new abilities, you have to get skill pieces, which you get by filling the skill point gauge, which you fill up by defeating either enemies or opening breakable objects. There are also 3 skills that are not directly in the skill tree, but you get these as you progress through the game by rescuing Sonic's friends, Amy, Knuckles, and Tails. Now aside from the Werehog, this is the first time that we see Sonic really fighting in a mainline Sonic game. So let's have a look at each of these abilities and see how effective they would be in taking on Shadow. First off, we start with the Psy Loop, where you run around the opponent in a circle and it either throws them up or breaks their guard down, but it can also be used to activate certain things too. You have the Phantom Rush, which activates when the combo meter is maxed out, and it makes Sonic's attacks 1.2 times more powerful. He basically starts attacking the opponent even faster. Next we have the Sonic Boom, which is just a high speed kick that unleashes a bunch of shockwaves at the enemy. It kind of looks like Sonic Wind a little bit. You've got the Stomp attack, where basically in the middle of a combo, Sonic will stomp down on top of the enemy's head. You've got his Wild Rush attack, where he basically zigzags around and then hits the enemy. You've got the Homing Shot, which is an effective long range attack for Sonic, and he just launches a volley of energy spheres right at the enemy. You've got the Loop Kick, where Sonic basically loops back around and then kicks directly at the enemy. And you've got the Spin Slash, where Sonic essentially gets into a ball and does a spin attack around the enemy. It's kind of reminiscent to the Blue Tornado from Sonic Heroes, where he does the same thing, but it doesn't have the wind property of blowing the enemy up. He also has a technique called Recovery Smash, where if Sonic gets knocked back, he can instantly jump back up and counterattack. You have Sonic's Grand Slam technique, where he gets into a ball and just spin dashes at the enemy before jumping back and kicking them off. He's got the Cyclone Kick, which is essentially the Blue Tornado once again, but this one actually launches the opponents in the air. And last but not least, he has the Cross Slash, where he basically moves around the enemy in the air while blasting energy waves right at them. So with Sonic's moveset in Frontiers, we can see that he has a lot of long range attacks as well as the short range attacks, and it's all built on speed and doing it quickly, you know, as you'd expect with Sonic. So before we dive into how effective these attacks could really be on Shadow, let's see what Shadow's working with. Now Shadow's new abilities come in the form of Doom powers, which are basically a genetic mutation caused by the Black Arms DNA that Shadow has from Black Doom. Now in the game you get these at certain points throughout the story. When you complete certain levels, you get these Doom Gears, and you use the Doom Gears to open these sealing devices, which ultimately gives Shadow access to the Doom powers. Now Shadow gains 5 Doom powers in total: the Doom Spears, the Doom Blast, Doom Surf, Doom Morph, and Doom Wing. The Doom Spears allow Shadow to launch Doom-influenced Chaos Spears that can strike up to 5 enemies at one time. The Doom Blast allows Shadow to basically run up on an enemy, hit him a few times, knock him up in the air, smash him somewhere, and then teleport right to him. The Doom Surf allows Shadow to basically summon a manta ray and glide over water. The Doom Morph allows Shadow to turn into a squid that can basically go over corrupted surfaces. And the Doom Wings allow Shadow to take flight and glide over long distances, as long as he has the rings to keep him up. Now these moves add a lot of diversity to Shadow's whole moveset, the Doom Spears particularly being a good long range attack, and the Doom Blast being a very good up close attack that can also cover range and knock an enemy into a dangerous area, as well as Surf and Morph not necessarily being too good in direct combat, but good for traversal. Now although it's not a Doom power, I'm also going to include the power of Chaos Control that Shadow has in Shadow Generations. I think it's an integral part of the moveset, and I'm saying that he uses it in this battle. Now if Shadow has the right amount of Chaos power, he can use Chaos Control to freeze time for 5 seconds. And also during this time, he can travel through Chaos Energy using the Chaos Dash. Now for the sake of fairness, in this scenario I wouldn't say that there would be too much Chaos Energy around, maybe enough for him to use it once or twice to his advantage, but that would be it. Now that we've kind of covered what these powers and techniques have added to both Sonic and Shadow's movesets, let's see how they kind of compare to each other. I think from a distance, Sonic has the slight advantage. Moves like Sonic Boom and Cross Slash give Sonic very good distance options against Shadow. They appear to come out a lot more quickly than the Doom Spears do, although I will say Shadow's Doom Spears being able to target multiple places at once does help him cover range in terms of direction and area. If Shadow were to dodge one of Sonic's long range moves, he'd be locked in until he stopped doing the attack. However, with Shadow, he could aim the Doom Spears in multiple places. If Sonic were to dodge one, another could hit him. Now this brings me into their general movement options and dodging options. Obviously in Sonic Frontiers, Sonic has the parry, so he can deflect all sorts of things, and he can also dodge roll side to side, but Shadow can also dodge to the sides. He can slide on both sides. And he has Chaos Control, which he can use to stop time so he can avoid attacks. Now if we take into account different types of terrain that they could be fighting in, Shadow would have the slight edge when it comes to movement. The Doom Surf helping Shadow potentially maneuver water if that was the case, whereas in Sonic Frontiers, Sonic can't even run on the water. At least in previous games like Generations he could run on it, but you had to be going fast enough, he had to be boosting, so he can't really go on it that much. There are also the Doom Wings too that will help Shadow traverse the skies, somewhere where Sonic also might find it difficult to reach. Of course, moves like the Wild Rush can help Sonic quickly get to enemies who are in the sky and any other place, but it would be pretty close. I think Sonic's strategy in this fight would be to just rush down Shadow and absolutely overwhelm him with his abundance of up-close moves. If he can do that, I think Shadow's defense and counter techniques aren't that strong in order to deal with it. If Shadow doesn't have the Chaos Energy to stop time, then what's he gonna do against the Loop Kick or Spin Slash? And if Sonic lands enough hits on him to get into a Phantom Rush, Shadow's cooked. I do want to give Shadow a lot of credit and say that he would probably be smarter in his approach. He'd probably keep a fair distance, use those Doom Spears, and then when he gets the chance fly in, swoop in, homing attack Sonic a little bit, then get back out of there. When Sonic tries to attack, save up his Chaos Energy to stop time and then counter attack and hit him then. But overall, I think Sonic takes the W. Whilst I do give Shadow a lot of credit and I do believe he has a fighting chance if there were a scenario where Frontier Sonic was to go against Doom Shadow, I just think Sonic's overwhelming abundance of attacking techniques in this game just makes it a bit too hard to give Shadow the W. I would love if someone could animate this fight. I think even just from a visual standpoint, seeing them go head to head like that would be really cool. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you think takes the W between Frontier Sonic and Doom Shadow? If you really enjoyed this video, I don't think I'm going to be doing many other videos like it. This was kind of a one-off type of video, but if you do have other matchups you'd like me to discuss, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. It's almost like giving my channel the like wisp, which helps it soar through the algorithm way faster. Anyway, thank you for watching my video about a blue hedgehog versus an alien black hedgehog, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace!